Welcome to the Voices of Ecosystems.
Welcome, Teresa Schlichting, for this new session of Voices of Ecosystem. I'm really happy to have you here because for many reasons. First of all, we have the same alma mater. We both studied at the University of Mannheim in southern Germany, but we also share some other stages. We were both head of strategy of big companies, and you are still in this position, even with a broader responsibility. You will talk about that probably in a second. And so we are also part of many network circles of strategy people. So once again, welcome to this vlogcast, and I'm really happy to discuss with you your perspective about experiences about ecosystems. But maybe, Teresa, I think you can introduce yourself much better than I can do. So maybe just in some sentences. So what are you currently doing? What is your mission? What is your current position? And where is your link to the topic of ecosystems? Many questions, I know, but you will answer them immediately.
Yeah, let's do it step by step. So first of all, thanks, Julian, for having me. I'm also happy to be here. As you say, my name is Teresa Schlichting. To start with the private stuff, I'm a mother of two, living here in North Rhine-Westphalia, but also quite a lot being busy with trips to the more exciting sites of Germany and around Europe, let's say. Yes, as you said, I'm the CSO of Arvato Financial Solutions, and in this position responsible not only for strategy, but also for innovation and transformation topics. Arvato Financial Solutions, I don't know if all of you know that company. We are a financial service provider as a part of the Arvato group of the Bertelsmann, so 100% family-owned business. And we are at the time being in a big transformation process, really, as I always say, combining the best out of two worlds. So having the traditional company partnership approach with our clients on the one hand side, and on the other side, as I said, entering this road and journey to product-driven, data-driven, and also people-driven FinTech. And in this way, it's quite exciting times over here. Overall, I have more than, as you said, 17 years of experience in different industries, coming from automotive, industrial electronics, now into this FinTech industries, all around strategy, transformation, and innovation.
And what's new? I mean, you know now many industries. What's new now in the current industry, in the financial services industry, from a strategic perspective for you in your responsibility?
Yeah, it's really one of the most dynamic industries I've been in, I have to admit. This industry and also the change urgency is really high. So this is why I was also so happy to have some tools in hand when I entered this company 1.5 years ago. And this industry is one where you can really have already now many examples of working ecosystems, especially when it comes, I think that's really those industries when it comes to e-commerce, where they are trying to practice this ecosystem, data-driven, consumer-centric business model approach since many years, and it's really exciting also to see how fast these industries are moving and the players are moving and how fast times are changing here. So that's really exciting.
Pretty cool. So you just mentioned, so one reason also to dig into the topic of ecosystems is velocity, is speed, and changing market dynamics. Now you, with your experience as a strategist and also now in your current responsibility, what did you learn about ecosystems from a strategic perspective now, having observed that, maybe also having touch points or in the past, and now being in an industry where ecosystems play a major or a big role? So what were your observations, and how did you approach the topic within your company?
Yeah, so as I said, this Ecosystemizer approach has helped us quite a lot also in our transformation efforts. And probably I really give some examples here and also start a little bit with where the industry has been in the past and where we are now, right? So the Ecosystemizer approach, I was really thankful to know it when I entered here, because it's really framing the why of our transformation and gives also to many people within our organization a perfect match when it comes to really explaining the market dynamics that we are in at the moment. So you can, when it comes to financial services in e-commerce, you can basically divide it into 3 stages that have been developed throughout the past years, I would say. So the first stage, and we all remember that when we did our first clicks in the e-commerce in e-shops out there, we've been really asking ourselves, is this shirt now really arriving in front of my house? And when I now pay with this payment method, will this money really arrive then the merchant, and will this all play out somehow, right? So the first stage and the first phase of e-commerce was really all about trust. And our role as a financial service provider was to give trust to the consumers on the one hand side, that the money arrives and that I also only have to pay for something that I want to keep. And on the other side, to give trust to the merchants that the money really then arrives, right, from the consumer that is now about to buy this shirt. Second stage, and this is something that I would say is just closing right now, was when all the financial services around these e-commerce business models started to merge and to integrate. And this is, if you ask me, the first indication of more going into an ecosystem view also of financial services. So we are a service provider that up to that time has been offering separate products. Accounts receivable management, debt collection, a payment method. And then in those times, it really started that there were FinTech players out there in the markets that have offered integrated services. All the PSPs, you know, they are integrating quite a lot of the financial value chain. And the whole market realized with those single parts of the value chain, you cannot really fit to the needs of the e-commerce shops anymore, because they just don't want to take care of the single steps. They just want to get rid of identity, risk management, payment, and then even accounting. They just want to have it. And most probably they would also like to have some pre-financing before, so they can really grow their shops and grow their offerings. Mm-hmm. That was the second stage. So integration, we realized already along the financial value chain. And this obviously you can spin around the whole value chain, also of logistics and so forth, right? So every consumer also expects that the return is managed within one touch point, for instance, when I'm shopping in a shop. So merging of different services within one big value chain. And then the third stage, and this is that we are entering right now, I would say, and this is also why we are starting to integrate, is where really this ecosystemizer logic fits into place. It's those two things. It's this thing of really consumer-centric services, although we also make most of the revenue with B2B services. You realize how important the consumer centricity is. And second, this so-called gatekeeping business models. You see already with first regulation discussions here in the European sphere at least, and also the German ones. We truly believe that this has come to an end, or will come to an end in the future, and that this trustful partnerships that we are practicing ever since will be so much more worthwhile in the lookout of the e-commerce, or even of every digital business model, if you ask me.
Cool. First of all, thank you also for mentioning the Ecosystemizer, and that it helped. That really we love that to hear these kind of use cases. That was not fishing for compliment, maybe for the audience. That was just that you tried that by your own. You were also supporting us with feedback when we were writing the book. We have to say that here, but thanks for mentioning it here. What I wanted to know is, you now have described these 3 stages and where you are now. Can you also give us a little bit more details about some use cases where you do that very concrete, where you start that new logic within your company and with others?
Yeah, as I said, that was something that was also already there when I entered this company, definitely. But we are intensifying this one right now. Okay, so this topic of integrating services, that's something that was already there when we've been offering our buy now, pay later, after payment methods, for instance, and then offer the whole value chain underneath. But when we are now talking about the next steps, we obviously still practice this thinking and this trustful partnerships within e-commerce. So when it really comes into deeply integrating financial services, payment methods, and probably even more in the future, when it comes to financial education or financial transparency for consumers, directly in the checkouts, for instance, of e-commerce shops, right? So really offer a deep integration and offer joint services where the consumer herself can choose if I want to use that service in a channel of a merchant, or if I want to use that service more in a channel of Arvato Financial Solutions, for instance. And we've been entering many strategy discussions and really also picking the life area perspective, because we truly believe we need probably separate products or features for an e-commerce value chain compared to a mobility value chain. And we have many examples already in place where we are co-creating with our big enterprise customers, and where we are also trying to rethink consumer journeys, for instance, in mobility. I think in e-commerce, there's not so much to rethink. There's more to make it even more seamless. But mobility is really a live area where we think with a more seamless also payment and financial management experience, we could have many innovations together then. And here in mobility, we all know that you need to partner and to team up with all the value chain steps that really deliver then the mobility service, like parking, off-street, on-street parking, public transport topics, and so forth. So this is something where we are currently working on top of our e-commerce products.
Cool. And when we are now already talking about innovation and outlook, what about the metaverse? Is that a topic? Because for us, it's a big potential ecosystem topic. It's just it will be built up. There are not that many use cases so far, but yeah. What is your perspective in general, and also from an ecosystem perspective to the
the metaverse and the whole Web3, NFT, decentralized finance discussion? Obviously, we are also driving that. And at the time being, it's as you said, we are exploring on different use cases. And here we are also blessed that we have many big enterprises, not only within our reach, but also within the Bertelsmann ecosystem reach. So the subsidiaries themselves, but also the big clients and partners that we are working with overall. And here we are currently evaluating which of the use cases we should implement first. And obviously, every time there will be a payment experience needed, and even more financial transparency for end consumers, because that's one of the biggest problems of our times. You can shop everywhere, you can spend money everywhere, but where's really the transparency and the overview of that one? And this is then something we would like to deliver apart from all the financial infrastructure that would be needed, for instance, also for NFT marketplaces and so forth. But these are just some ideas and some exploration fields. Definitely, it's an area where we also want to play in. Yeah.
Sounds as a prosperous future, but let's go back to present. What are the challenges you are just facing when you are trying to set up this ecosystem logic within your company, but maybe also to partners? So what are the major ones there?
Yeah, and here you really did it right to split it, because, and this is what we always say, let's start from within, right? Let's start with ourselves. And this is the phase that we've been running through in the past 12 months, let's say. We've really started with ourselves and starting to merge from a product perspective and also from an organizational perspective, our people, to bring them closer together and to really make them collaborate. Collaboration is something that was always important in this company, but now the urgency is really also driven by this market need of more integrated services. And this is also a cultural perspective. new ways of working together in cross-functional teams. So we rebuilt our whole company as a team-based functional organization. And that's a big, as I say, mindset shift also coming with it. Also in combination with a purpose that we've added on top, and this even more because we've always been
just to name
consumer-centric way of doing products. So our purpose, if I spell it out completely, is turning financial solutions into a sustainable force for everyone's growth, for a new era of economic freedom. It's quite long. In the end, it's really about that we believe in the value of growth. We support growth, as I've explained it, for instance, for e-commerce merchants, that they can trust in payments. And we also want to support growth of each private person with supporting them with the right payment and financing and financial transparency tools to help them live their best financial life in the end. Yeah.
Okay, and maybe to go back, maybe one ultimate question to this transformation issue, because I have learned by myself, but also from other C-level executives, that change is always kind of the toughest thing within any existing company. So how did your people react to that, what you are then progressing, what you're pushing? Were they happy? How did you have to convince them, and how did you cope with that?
And that's really the good thing within this, if you ask me, FinTech industry, that's an ever-changing industry. This company has reinvented itself various times before, and also before we entered in this massive transformation stage on different locations with different brands. People have been transforming already. So they have been they are quite good in transforming, but obviously, yes, every new transformation is an additional burden, if you like. It's an additional effort. On top, we are completely rebranding this company now, beginning of October. So we will not be Arvato Financial Solutions. We will be Rivety from then on. And this is also something that people now have to get used to, that they are basically really working for a new company that then has the answers to these new times, let's say. And but I think we are doing quite well and quite good because, as I said, we are quite European and quite agile mindset by itself. But obviously, yeah, it's a bumpy road, we always say. And it's really loads of effort all of our people are putting into this.
Cool. And maybe we could talk for hours, but we have to come to an end. Maybe my last question is what would you give as an advice to others, to other corporate strategy people or other business development people when starting such a journey to such a transformation into a more, let's call it more ecosystem logic driven company? Is there anything, maybe number one advice or maybe also others or many's?
It's really one advice, and I think it's not even a new advice, but this Ecosystemizer approach could help you finding the answer. Start with the why. And probably, and I'm quite sure you will find the why in the middle of this Ecosystemizer circle. For whom, what's the human you are really striving for, making your products better? What's the life? What's the part of life that you want to make better with your products and your company? If you ask that question, you will have a great transformation journey.
That's also already a good closing remark, but I have one really ultimate question. Is there any ecosystem also or ecosystem thinking which you have in your private life setting, or do you have this mindset? Do you transfer that also in your private life, or is ecosystem logic just something for business? What do you think about that? Is there?
I mean, what is the ecosystem logic? It's about trustful partnership, right? That where the sum of one is more than two. True. So everyone who has a family can, I think, perfectly relate to that. And I can also, I'm also one of those happy people that can really say my family would probably be an ecosystem, and I would even span it broader, not just by little one, but my big one. But if you ask me, every successful community, even every successful club out there is consciously or unconsciously applying this ecosystemizer approach. So I really, I've been making up my mind also to transport this message here inside to our people. What could be a feasible example in private life? I live in quite a small home community where a little river has its source. And my home community has worked out with all the communities along the river a biking tour. And now we are really one of those tourist attractions here in Germany of people who would like to do this biking tour along the river. And this also helped quite a lot my little village, my little community to team up and also to build up, let's say, more infrastructure and a better life quality for everyone who's living there. So teaming up in partnership and making something bigger out of something quite small. I think that's anyhow a good idea also in private life.
Cool, and that's a great example. Now you have to tell me where exactly is that I can join, others can. Where is that?
It's the River Ems. I think it's quite popular in Germany that around all our rivers you will find some cool bike routes and also tourist attractions and good hotels. Yeah, I can recommend that one.
Cool. Teresa, thank you so much for your time. Now we are really at the end. It's really great insights, and I think also for others, some really good advices how to start, and not only for people in the financial services industry. Thank you once again for your participation, and I'll see you soon at a bicycle tour at the Ems. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Looking forward. Thanks, Julian. See you.